Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian Indices report, and apologies for the delay. I've had problems with the video equipment, and I have already made the video, so we're going to see some drawings on here that I've already drawn out before in the last video. There's just no sound with it, that's all. Look, a couple of main points here with this particular market here is that the 6,300 here is critical for any upside movement here. We want this as support. If it is found as support, then we know that we can be setting the target at 6,500. So that's where we're aiming for. And within this here, we know that this move here above the level, the breakout's important and the retest is important. They're both important, but the retest is more important in terms of trading terms and getting a position in the market. None of these have been support. Even though they've traded above the level, they haven't found support. Now we're looking at another move across the top here that could possibly find support. I know that the move down through here in its initial stages is in 3 waves, so we have a corrective move here. So it doesn't matter what occurs here, it will all be part of the correction. Now, it is possible that we could call this wave 4. We know wave 4s are complicated. We could call wave 4 in here, and we could have up for 1, ABC for 2 here, up for 1, ABC for 2 here, and then a series of ups and 1s and 2s in here, and really getting ready to push up here and make new highs. So that could be the case, but I'm going to be conservative and call this in here as the A wave, the B wave here, and then 5 waves in here for the C wave here, and then call this up for 1 and back for 2, and up for 1 and back for 2, and starting into the 3rd waves now, moving to the upside. So last time we spoke, that we had wave 4 possibly sitting here, and we were looking for wave 5 to come down through to here. But at the same time, I said I was a little bit unsure, but we need to be going long above these highs here. So if you've gone long there, that's fine, and we'll look at where to put the stop, which will be down below the 6,772. We need to be below that. We can also now go long, look for long trades here as well. So I'm just going to go into the hourly chart here and just talk about this for a moment. I'll just remove this here. So I'm being conservative and calling this wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5 here for wave C of 4 here, and the correction completing. So there's a couple of things that I know here with all of this here is that this little move here is corrective. This is impulsive. This could also be included as impulsive, but it never made a new low here. This is impulsive. All this move in here is corrective. This is impulsive. This is corrective. So it does appear that we actually are pushing to the upside. So if you're long here, then that's fantastic. We want to keep the stop out of the way until we make a new high here. If this market moves up through here, then we can move this stop up here. Okay. Now, so counting this as wave 1 in green here, wave 2 in green, and then we're looking for 5 waves in the next degree of structure. So this is how this would play out here with wave 3 here, and 5 waves 1 and 2 and 3 here. So this little correction that's pulling back down here now, it could turn into 5 waves. If it makes a new low here, then it's going to be 5 waves down. So then it's going to have 3 waves back up, and then another 5 waves down here, and then move up from that point there. So the 38.2% retracement level from this low here of wave 2 to the top here of wave 3 here makes the 38.2% retracement level quite close to the 6,300. So yeah, I'm just giving a more complex correction for wave 4, but it can be just down to here and move up. So we shouldn't see too much downside here. Now the next thing is that we know that we've got this high here, so that would be our trigger, but we could also move it down into these highs here. In fact, what we can do, I want to talk about 2 things here. If the market moves straight up from here and found support on number 10 here, which is, let's call 1, 2, and 3 here. If it found support on number 1 here and 10 here, then look to go long at that point. So nice tested support here. Then look to add on top of 20, and look to add on top of 30, and also look to add on top of 50. You'll see a larger correction occur at the 50 here. You'll see something like this, the first high above the level, and then a correction here, and then move up. So, but just stay in the market and look to add to positions on any pullbacks from here, the first pullback or the second pullback, it doesn't matter. And then we'll keep the stops out of the way. In this little instance here, so that's if the market goes straight up from here. If it pulls back here and does an A and a B and a C wave here, then look to get in on after this finishes an A and a B and a C here, and then looks to get in to move in on this level over here. So I'll just grab that, copy that. So if it trades below here, the 6,300, then gets back up and finds support, then you want to be looking for long at this point. Because also too, that we really want to build into this, because when we think about it, is that I've taken a conservative view. I've got wave 4 here, but remember that wave 4 can be over here in a series of waves building to the upside. So this is a real sort of spring here, a building process, and we know that if we get tested support here on the 63, we'll be going higher here. So this is the place to build in here, and I feel that the driver for this will be the banks, and CBA will be the ticket to ride here. I'm just going to go to the monthly chart here just to bring in the bigger picture here. So the GFC down here is wave 4, then wave 1 and 2 here, and nice wave 3 here, nice and long and strong, and a complicated wave 4 here. So we've had wave 4 sitting on the low here for some time, and then we're looking for a move up through to here. This wave 4 could get more complicated, but we also want to build into CBA here as well. So we went long here yesterday. So I'm just going to go to the daily chart here. So it's possible that this low is in place here, and this move up here hasn't counted very well. And it, like I said, wave 4 may not be, this is not the most perfect 5 waves here, but I can count the 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the 5 here. So it's counted quite nicely. We'll look at this in a bit more detail in a moment. It could be that this wave 4 is more complex, and we'll get an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here, and just fail from here and go into a more sideways complex correction over here. But at the same time, there is a reasonable good chance that I've got this right and we're going to be pushing up from here, and this will be the driver of the ASX. I don't know, this wave 1 is fine, it could be an A wave, and even though I've got it wave 1 here, it may be just wave 1 of a smaller degree, the blue one here. So when I go into the hourly chart that we looked at a little while ago, or quite a bit now, we've been tracking all this up here, haven't we? So yeah, so then we've got, say, a wave 1 here, or wave A. And then we've got an A and then a B wave here, and a little A, little B, and little C wave here. And then we've tracked this coming down through here as wave 1, 2, and 3, and 4 here, and 5 here. Didn't pull back to the 50-60% retracement level, had its earnings results so it was popped up in the first day, and then we went long here. I'll just go to the tick chart on this now as well, because we've been looking at that tick chart as well. So with the tick chart here, we talked about going long here, and we also talked about going lower. So if you had orders in here and you're long from here, well then congratulations, it's your shout at the bar. But the situation, we've gone long here now, and what I want to say about this correction as an A and a B and a C here will be confirmed as an ABC correction when the B wave gets taken out here. So a move up through the 76.10 here, if that occurs here, then it's confirmed that this is correction, and then we will also be taking this top out here as well. Okay, so I suggest getting a small position long in here. Just normal shares would be even better, because then we can hold them much longer. But if the market's going to be moving into a third wave, the CFDs will be fine. So I think this is where the drive's coming from. This move up through here, if this is wave 1 and 2 here, and then 3 and 4 and 5 here, then we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up here. And I'll just come back to to the 1 hour chart so I can draw on this side. So really here we can look at this going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and then there'll be an A and a B and a C. So it can come back like this, you know. So keep the stops out of the way here for that, and then this side over here will be quite powerful. So I think this is a driver of the ASX if that's going to be the case here. Okay, so we'll just wait and see. Is that support on here yet? Support to me is when this comes back down here and then moves up and takes this high out here. Then it's been tested and then the breakout through here and higher. It may just jiggle around here for a little while because we haven't seen the US markets up strongly, but they can move up tonight as such. I expect them to do that. But the European markets, the FTSE, the English market, is really quite important to this market here as well. I don't know all the ins and outs from that, but I've traded both for many years and I can see that that's there. We've got the same tax law, same parliament and all the rest of it. So there's a lot of undercurrents there. It's so that the UK market and this market can run together. Okay, so let's look at China. Got things set up a little bit differently here, so here we go. So China. So this also goes with the Hang Seng as well, so Hong Kong. So we've got I'm happy with wave 3. And then wave 4 here as an A and a B and a C. I'm kind of happy with that, but the problem with that is that we don't have a nice 5-wave structure to the downside and we don't make a new low here. So it's quite possible that this is just the A wave here, then an A and a B and a C for the B wave here, and then we go up for the C wave here. It's also possible that this wave 3 here is correct as an A and a B and a C for wave 4, and we go down from this point. So, and then make wave 5. So I just don't know. There's 3 things that can happen here. So if this is an A wave here, a B wave here, then we'll be looking for a C wave up here, and then 5 waves down here. I won't be able to make a call on this market in terms of a trade until this matures. And then when we have a look at Hong Kong, which is basically the same pattern as this, but it has made a new low down here, and it's trading further up here as well. So I can't give a call on China or Hong Kong for the moment. I'll just go to the 4-hour chart here and just go back over this a little bit and tell you what I can do and what I can't do. I've already drawn over here because I already made the video this morning. I just didn't have any sound with it, unfortunately, and so wave 3 here is cool. I don't want to call this wave 3 low here because we don't have 5 waves finishing here. It's more like an A and a B, an A and a B and a C here. So an A and a B and a C here for this. But even if I'm wrong here, we're still left up here. This still doesn't give me nice 5 waves down here. Yes, I can get 5 waves in here as wave 1 here, an A and a B and a C for wave 2, being complex in 2, and then down for 3 here and 4 here, and then down for 5. Wave 4 is very simple at that terms. Wave 2 is complex. Wave 4 is simple. So that's possible that we do have 5 waves here, and we do have the low in here, and we can just keep moving up through here. Okay, but at the same time, this wave 3 here with an A and a B and a C wave here would be a nice fit as well, and then coming down from here. So the question becomes that, well, 5 waves up here, I think this is a wave 4 to come back and then a wave 5 to go up here. So this has got to finish up here anyway. And if it finishes up here, a C wave will have 5 waves. But if this low is in place here, then we could also call this, copy this and put wave 1 here. We don't have a trade here yet. I'm just showing, just showing what we're going to do about it. And then we could have wave 2 here if that's going to be wave 1 up there. So if that low is in place here, then this becomes wave 1, and then we'll have an A and a B and a C here, back to the 28 here for wave 2, and then we can look to build in on wave 3 here. Okay, but otherwise, if that's correct here, then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we have to start buying from this point here. So I won't know until all this finishes here. I'll do some more work on it, and I may find some more discoveries in here. The other point that I want to make too with this market is that if this is wave 3 here, right, then the B wave has dropped below here. That means that we can be in for an expanded flat. Now what that means is that expanded flat means that it will, if this is wave 3 low here, then we've got the A wave here, the B wave making a new low here, and the C wave making a new high above here, and then coming down here for that. So it's a bit of a double whammy. It's a trap for the bears and then a trap for the bulls here. So normally the distance that drops below here, this distance here, which is this little mark here, then we can normally add that to the top of wave A here. So we could end up with this market actually going up to this point and then dropping from that point. If it does that, if it moves up that high, then it's likely to be an expanded flat. Otherwise, if it's going to be wave 1, it's just going to come in roughly around the top here. That will be one of the little clues that we'll be looking for. So I don't have any answers to resolve China or Hong Kong at this stage, so I just have to wait until things fall into place and I can see something that I know. If you've got any comments on that, then any better ideas, then obviously send them through and I'll share them. But yeah, now Japan as well. Now what I want to talk about here with Japan is that the move up through here, I don't know if it's wave 1, 2, and 3 here, and then we've got a simple wave 2 here, sharp and simple, and then we've got a complex wave 4 here. So if we've got a complex wave 4 here, then we need to look at this as an A, and then a B, and a C, and a D, and an E wave here, okay? Now, if I'm wrong, this move up through here is in 3 waves. There's an A and a B and a C here, all right? So it makes it the alternative C wave here. Then it makes all of this bearish here. So this would be labeled wave 1 here, an A and a B and a C for wave 2, which is really big wave 2, by the way, compared to wave 1. So I don't think it's the case, but it's still there. And then wave 1 here, and then an A and a B and a C wave here for wave 2. Once again, another big wave 2 here, repeating patterns. And then we'll look at this being wave 1 down here as well. So I'm thinking that that we also need to look for short trades here as well. So within that, what you can see here is that the 500 here is a really good support here. So if that becomes the retested resistance, this number here, then we need to be short. Now, it has to be retested. So this move down through here created the low and then came back and retested, but didn't fail, so it wasn't triggered. This one moved down, moved back up, didn't fail. This one and this one and this one here, they didn't fail. Do you know what I mean? So what we need to see is a move down, come back up, get the move down, move back up, we'll have our reference point, and then we can short below the reference point. So I want to be on this side. If that becomes the retested resistance, I want to be on the short side here. It will move down to the 3 here, and then it will have a strong bounce back up at that point. So be mindful of that. So I've got that trigger to go short here, but really it's about the retest here. On this other side here, this move here appears to be impulsive here, so we can move to here, move back up to the 61.8% mark, and then fail from that point there as well. But I think that if we, normally we would go, we also want to be looking at being long as well. Normally we would go long above here, but it will be too high and we'll be too close to the 61.8%. So we need to come down to about here somewhere. So if that's breached here, then because it's still got the possibility to move up higher from here, and if that's the case, then we want to be in early and away from the 61.8% mark, so we can bring, while the market's up here, we're triggered here, and the market's up here, we can bring this up much closer to the stop, much closer to this entry point here to protect anything here. So we could end up with a small loss here, but we could also be quite close to the end of this particular correction here, as well as a wave 4. So this has just gotten a little bit complex here, but as I mentioned before, that we can have this as a corrective ABC up here, and we're looking at a bearish pitch here. So it doesn't matter where the market goes, we just need to be on the right side at the right time, and that means being on the right side of the closest largest number at the right time. Okay, now the Indian market here that we've had some trades in, just starting on the daily chart here. So this is a really nice trend, so we could call this wave 4 here, so wave 1 and 2 here, and then moving up into this bullish market here, looking at this as wave 1 and 2 here. We're looking for the third wave to touch on to what I call the medium level here, which is at 11,500. So it's halfway between the 10,000 and the 13,000, which are major trading levels. So we can definitely expect some type of correction to play out here. We don't want to be, we want to take profit at the 11,500 or thereabouts. We don't want to trade short in the wave 4 here. We can trade long in the wave 5 of wave 3 here, and we can trade the wave 4 here in certain parts of it, because this one here will be 60% bigger than this one here. It's a larger degree of structure. So on the 4-hour chart or 1-hour chart here, we've had lots of long positions in here with all of this, but it is this from here, this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So we've just been counting the last little 5 waves in here. So I'm going to go to the hourly chart now. So we didn't have the stop here before. That was just because when I made the last video, we actually had it down here, I think. Or was it down here? Down here, I think. Anyway, or could have been here. Doesn't matter. We're putting it up here now. There's a couple of things here. From this wave 4 here, I can count this as wave 1 and 2 here, and wave 3 here. I'm happy with that. And then I can count this as an A and a B and a C for wave 4 here. But it's also possible to count this as more of a triangle pattern across here, where we have an A, B, C, D, and E here for wave 4 here. And then we have wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and then 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2. And this is like a third, all of a third wave in here, and we'll have a 4th wave coming in, and then a 5th wave moving up into this space here. So, or we could have this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here and so on. But it doesn't matter. I know definitely that this is some sort of impulse wave here with a correction here. So we can put the stop here. But because we're so close here now, we can put it up under here. You could probably put it up under here. You could probably put it up under here as well. But let's just keep out of the way and put it there. Okay, so if we get stopped out, well, we get stopped out. But also too, we want to take profit at the 11,500. If you don't want to take profit 11,500, just keep bringing the stop up under the previous lows, and you may get a bit higher up here. Okay, and you could prove me wrong when you go even further up. But I'm not worried, because even the normal thing is that the market will move up to the level, have some type of correction, then have another little 5 waves up, and then have a larger correction at that point. That's kind of the thing that we're looking at here. If it didn't stop here and just continued straight up there, then the distance it goes above is normally the distance it will come back below again as well, and then it will use this number as a balance point, as like sound petering out, so to speak, so to speak. So you'll need to keep that. There's a huge possibility of having a correction at this level. So that's why we're going to get out, and we're not really going to worry about this wave 4 here as such. It will probably, we can look at where it comes back to. So we can just go back to the 4-hour chart here. So yeah, that's where it can come back to here. I don't think it's going to come back to this point here, but it can. The reason I don't think it will, because it's from where it is in its third wave here. So if it's going to come anywhere, normally we would have a correction. If I was just thinking about it naturally, it'd be back to 400, up to sort of maybe even 650 here somewhere, somewhere in 650 there somewhere, and then a move back in 3 waves back to the top of group 1 here as a wave 4, and then moving off from here. So yeah, so that there would be this one here basically. So I have to put this in, but I think it can come back to 200 and a bit, but I think it's more like 300 here. So I just rather, I mean, if you're trading sort of other products that don't have overnight financing compounding every day, then just stay in the take some profit here and stay in the trend and buy the pullbacks. But because we've got CFDs, we don't want to be burned up in a series of wave 4s here in terms of time being churned up. You know, we're better off doing something else. All right, look, thanks for your patience. Much appreciated. Cheers.